Hello, I'm Nerius, and this is Son of a Lich, a video series where I randomly create and draw homebrew RPG monsters. Because let's face it, eventually the bard in your party will run out of standard beasts to fuck. I'll be rolling dice to select the characteristics, then I'll draw the creature to life. At the end, there'll be a stat block for you to use in your own games. Okay, let's create an insult to common decency. The first category is monster type. Okay, that's a 6. That's a fiend. These are lower planes, chaotic beings, like demons and devils, and also found in stores demanding to speak to the manager. Next is size. Okay, 4. So that's a small being. It's 3 to 4 feet in height. Alright, how does it move? 4. It bounces. Okay, natural weapons. We'll choose 2 of these. Okay, so it's 5. It's goring. And 10. Acid. Next we'll check its mental ability. 10. It has godlike intelligence. Finally, the environment. Where does it live? 4. The dungeons. I start with a rough sketch. Now, one of the most important parts about this creature is how it moves. That will help inform the rest of it. You could go with spring feet or spring-loaded toes or something, but I went with this giant flabby ball bag sort of thing. I mean, it's not really testicles, but it sort of is. So these weird nipple things were my way of trying to figure out how it would secrete acid. I even put some on the face there, because I thought dungeon creatures don't really need eyes. Like cave creatures, they live in darkness, so they're not really going to use them very often. So I sort of replaced everything with nipples. It's difficult to visually represent godlike intelligence, particularly on a creature that bounces along on a giant set of testicles. But I went with this additional brain in its abdomen, something it would need to protect, something that it feeds. I've even put a note that it feeds on the intelligence of others. Kind of like a mind flayer, but instead of using psionics, it physically sucks out the intelligence with its teeth. The brain tummy thing is really fun to draw, but I also had some trouble trying to figure out whether the brain should be sort of erupting out of the skin, which is nice in a body horror teratology way, which I like because I'm a terrible human being, but there's no logical reason why that would be happening. So I settled on having it just below the skin, but still protruding. I also allowed myself these kind of ribs to be poking out as a protective precaution. I hated doing these arms because I couldn't quite figure it out at first. I knew that they had to be stabilising, because otherwise this creature is just sort of teetering on top of this giant flabby ball bag and would keep falling over or bouncing off the walls or whatever. But yeah, it took me a while to figure out what needed to happen. The other natural weapon this creature has is horns for goring, but I didn't want them to be traditional, so I have them emerging like bone from skin, which I really like the look of, but now that I look at it, it looks kind of like a foreskin. There's a theme developing, and it wasn't intentional. Acid is a difficult natural weapon to incorporate because there kind of has to be a reason for it. So I had this creature sort of weeping acid and secreting acid from like pustules on its ball bag. Because I thought maybe that could help break down the brain matter so that it could feed on the intelligence. And this is where I finally figured out how the arms should work, as like claws to dig into the ground and stabilise the creature and help propel them across the room. I always procrastinate on colour. In this case, because I was trying to figure out the logic of it. You know, should this creature have any colour at all? It lives in a dungeon, doesn't get any sunshine, probably only gets pigment from what it eats, and it eats intelligence. And I went with purple, so I guess purple's the colour of intelligence? Maybe it also eats grapes. Yeah, it eats intelligence and grapes. So this new race of ball-bag bouncing, acid-weeping creatures needs a backstory. Now, with a lot of creatures with godlike intelligence, you know, with the cosmic horror creatures, Lovecraftian creatures, their motives are impenetrable. That godlike intelligence makes their actions seem chaotic and strange. And I think that's an important thing for this kind of creature. You know, it bounces along in dungeons, consuming intelligence, and maybe it should be driving the victims slightly mad in this dungeon environment, creating an intelligence that's tainted with something or flavoured with something. Okay, it needs a name. I'm not great with names. I kind of just want to call him Steve. Steve the bouncing testicle. That won't do. So it bounces, it devours intelligence, a bounding devourer. Bound Vower? The Bound Vower. So here it is, the Bound Vower. Goring, acid-weeping melter of brain matter, feaster of maddened intelligence, bouncer of giant flabby testicles. Help yourself to a stat block, and let me know if you use this monstrosity in a session. Thanks for watching, and beware the testicles that dwell in dark dungeons.